Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Creative Juices. Now today's guest is somebody that I don't know particularly well, but I'm really looking forward to get to know their story, their background, a little bit of actually what got them into the work that they do today. And today's guest is Ryan Percival from Social with Ryan. Ryan has a background in social media management, in copywriting for social, and actually a little bit of sports journalism thrown in there as well, which is where it all started. But today, Ryan runs Social with Ryan, which is his own company. He's a freelance social media manager, and we're going to get into what sparks his creativity and where it all started for with Ryan today. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to know Ryan a little bit better. Ryan, welcome to Creative Juices.
Thank you very
Finally, we got here.
Yeah.
Me and Ryan have been trying to get this date in the diary for ages, and then Ryan had a few things going on. Then I just couldn't see above the water, so was like, hang on, we need to just hold fire.
Yeah.
And now we're here, finally.
We are here.
So you've just said you've listened to all of the episodes, so you know
Yep.
that you know the drill. Some people who've
do.
come in don't fully know what I'm going to do or like which way we're going to go with things. But I want to start early days and then we'll gradually go into like what you do. I've done a little introduction of you already, so I will have introduced you by now. We've added that thanks to some feedback from people. But when you think of sort of being creative or creativity, where did it start for you? Like, have you got early memories of it?
I didn't realise it was creativity at the time, but reflecting now and listening to the podcast, mine, and may sound a little strange, but mine was playing football in the garden, and I could commentate to myself and create a scenario in the garden and be like, I'm at Wembley, I'm at Sixfields, wherever it may be.
Yeah.
And I was creating a scenario and commentating myself. It
Love
may
that.
sound sad, but it was me creating a scenario. I'm playing, just kicking the ball against the wall.
Yeah. So you're going, he shoots, he scores.
Yeah, something
back
like
of the
that,
net.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And would you do that out loud? Or was it more
Yeah, I think I probably would have,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The freedom of a child in the garden, like kicking a football around.
Yeah, kicking the ball against the ball.
Yeah. So
yeah.
didn't come out in any form of like writing or
No.
more. It was more.
No, so I was never creative
Yeah.
as you may think of as a creative. So I never drew, never, wrote anything, never read books really.
Really.
Yeah.
So yeah, more into the sports side of things,
Yeah.
which I've done my research. So like I say, when I introduced you earlier, we don't actually know each other very well. We've met a couple of times at networking events.
Yeah.
I think we connect because we do similar things. Like we're both probably having to deal with some of the same challenges day to day. You're new in your business. We're not. Whilst we're a little bit further on, I've been where you are, absolutely. But you studied sports journalism.
I did.
So from what you've just said, that totally makes sense already. As you were growing up, sort of going through school, I don't know if you went to college or anything like that, but what took you from being that kid going through school to being like, right, I want to study?
So probably like many young males, I loved sport. It was my thing, right?
Yeah.
But my body is not made to play sport. Like fact, pulled muscles. I've never broken a bone, but so many pulled muscles. My hamstrings are literally made of paper mache. So I played sport as well as I could, and wanted to be a footballer. So cliche, but I did. And then I went to sixth form and studied like sports coaching sort of thing. And one day the teacher, well, actually, let's roll back before that. So my family, I'm a first generation university student, so none of my family have ever been to university. And I when I was coming to the end of school, I said, so before I went to sixth form, I said, I'm going to be a painter and decorator. Classic. So because all I knew was trade, right? My whole family are builders. Well, like builders or tradesmen. My friends are all electricians, and that's great. And look, they make a fantastic living out of it. But
hard work,
look,
man.
massively hard work, and I just wouldn't be cut out for that stuff. I'm not.
No.
I'm a keyboard tapper,
Keyboard warrior.
Yeah, but
in the best sense.
So when I told my PE teacher at the time at school that I was going to be a painter and decorator, he was like, "You are not, Ryan. You're not doing that. You're going to university." But I just never thought about that. I thought that was not a possibility. Anyway, so I stayed on. So I sacked off Tresham College.
Yeah,
that's not happening. I'm not.
Sorry, Tresham.
I'm not going to do painting and decorating. And stayed on at sixth form and was doing like a sports coaching. Sort of, it was a BTEC, National Diploma in Sports. Like And then one day, we did all the outside stuff, the practical stuff, and then one day the teacher said, "Oh, we're gonna watch a game of rugby and we're gonna write about it,
Brilliant.
like analyze what's going on." Oh, I was in my element, and I'd never really picked up a pen before that, and then I was just like writing stream to stream, and I could analyze the patterns of play, the shape of the team, and then rugby's like my first sport. I was just mesmerized by like talking about what was on the screen and analyzing what was on the screen and writing about it, and then from that day forward, I was like, journalism, like that could be a thing, and I never considered that. I was just like a C student, like English, nothing more than that. So that's sort of where it went, and then went to do sports journalism. And
did you enjoy the course? Like once you were there, because obviously that initial experience where you didn't even know that was something you might enjoy.
Yeah.
And then you're thrown into a degree.
Yeah. I did. I loved the course. It was very much more than sport. Yeah. Like we learned about the monarchy, we learned about politics. Like it wasn't just like sport, which is credit to the lecturers and the university, because you have to understand the wider world to talk about anything. You have to understand what's going on in society to talk about anything. You cannot make a reference when you're writing about sport, for instance. You cannot make a reference. Bless you. Excuse me. Sorry, everyone. You cannot make a reference about sport or write about sport without understanding wider society and even like the political landscape and things like that. It's really important, and especially the course was very much focused on print journalism, which I didn't want to do, but every media outlet has a political swing as well, so you need to be aware of that. Know the landscape and
so true.
Even us on social media, right?
100%. I think a lot of people don't really think about that, because if you're sort of crafting a tone of like voice for a brand, or you're crafting a style of communicating for a brand or a business, the more knowledge you've got of what surrounds that business in terms of their market, then the economy, then the history, like the better. The more knowledge you've got of the geography of where they're going, what are people like in certain areas, like the more knowledge you've got, the sharper and more educated your copy will be.
And and you'll be able to resonate with the people you're trying to resonate with, even like I say, from sports writing through to social media now. So back then the course was very well rounded, and it was good, and essentially it taught me how to write. I was a C student, English, everything really was a C, to be honest.
I was pretty similar, to be fair.
But then university did teach me how to write in a certain way, like and it did, and it worked, and I did enjoy it.
What did it where do you think that came from though? So you sort of sat there watching the rugby game, and you're told, write about what's happening, and you obviously went into like what people would now call a flow state, all of that like nonsense that people talk. It's not nonsense, it's true, but that it's slightly like fluffy way of talking about it. You just hyper focus, you're in it, you're enjoying it. Where do you think that came from? Because it sounds like it sort of came a bit out of the blue in terms of, oh shit, I'm good at this.
It was definitely out of the blue, but then I suppose sport back then was the thing I knew most about. So if you say to someone now, like a young person, what do you want to do? You'd firstly say to them, well, I probably would say to them, what do you enjoy most? And what can you talk about endlessly, passionately? And mine was sport. But then, when I went to university, I actually realised it wasn't sport. It was the stories within sport. And the storytelling angle of it. And I've never liked like the glitz and the glam of sport. I prefer I'm a Northampton fan. I'm a local lad. Like I love the non-league thing, the
community,
the community, and all that, and the stories that come with it. And that's probably transcended into what I do now, and come along the way.
So you then you studied at Brighton, and then you did an internship at the BBC as a sports reporter. And that's, I remember reading in, I think it's on your LinkedIn profile, you were saying that's where it really started for you in terms of really crafting how to tell the stories.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it was the first point I believed in myself as well, because I don't see myself as like a high achiever. I never have. So back then, so the internship came around. it was a scheme the BBC did every summer. I think it was like August time, called BBC Blast.
Yeah.
And you applied for it. You went for an interview at the radio station. So mine was BBC Northampton.
Yeah.
And you went up against other people for that internship. I think it was like a 6-week internship, if I remember rightly. It's my first year of uni, so I'd just done 1 year. It was the summer of the first year. And I applied without really anybody knowing. Like I wasn't really like close to the lecturers at university, so I just did it off my own back. Like I'm just going to apply.
Kept it quiet. Like
but that's me. You know, I'm a bit of a grey man. I do just like blend in a little bit under the radar. So I just applied for it and I got it, which was amazing. And it was probably the first moment where I thought, all right, like you must be doing something right. Yeah. And then spent 6 weeks with the guys at BBC Northampton. I think I can't remember. A couple of days a week, maybe. I honestly can't remember. I think it was like a couple of days a week, and then I got kept on after that. So I was doing sports commentary.
Yeah. So again, they must have been doing something.
Yeah.
Right.
They invited me back to join them on Saturdays, covering the local teams in Northampton. So I did a whole season commentating on the BBC Sport website for Kettering Town.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So was travelling all around England. I couldn't drive, so the home games over in Kettering I was getting a bus to.
Oh really?
It was not paid either. It was
all voluntary.
All voluntary. So I was getting a bus, the X7, over to Kettering every Saturday to do a home game, taking like the microphone with me and the kit I needed, commentating on that game, doing updates on BBC Radio Northampton, and then travelling to away games with another person.
Brilliant.
So my whole Saturdays,
doing what you're doing in the garden as a kid.
Literally.
Isn't it brilliant?
And I think that really helped because, like it was just me out there doing the thing, and I had that. I was getting that educational knowledge, but I was also getting industry knowledge and meeting people and being put on the spot in some pretty difficult situations. Like speaking to a football manager after the team's lost 4-0 is as rough as it comes in terms of interviewing people.
Yeah, how are you feeling? Shit. Yeah.
I've had 3-word answers and I've got to think of something, so I've got to fill a minute on the radio, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
And I think back now, and I honestly think, how the hell did you do that? Like, I was, what was I at the time? 18?
No inhibitions, I suppose, or like the opportunity. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question.
I honestly, I don't know.
I wouldn't have been able to do that at 18.
Because 33-year-old me now would not be able to do that.
But don't you think when we're a bit younger, we don't, I mean, everyone's different, but I certainly I'd throw less caution to the wind. I'd just go for things a bit more when I was younger, and then as you have more knocks as you get older, because naturally the more you go through life, we get told no a bit more, and we get told, oh, that's not as good, and you naturally have more obstacles and more responsibility. Yes,
for sure. There's more riding on it.
So like failure feels bigger, I think, when we're older, whereas when we're younger and we're sort of starting our life, I remember just feeling a bit more like, oh yeah, fuck it, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a mortgage and I didn't have, anyone relying on me. You've got a young family now. So maybe it's that sort of stuff. I don't know.
Potentially. But what I did know was the subject, right? I knew football. I knew sport. I was getting to know people and how they act and things like that. So, that's sort of how it all started. I'm obviously quite far away from that now in terms of what I do, but it definitely gave me a good grounding in terms of like getting out there and meeting people and speaking to people and spotting a story and spotting something and being able to relay that and resonate with who you're speaking to and make it impactful.
And how important that game is to the people who are everyone there, like you said, like with local teams and the sort of lower divisions of sport. There's a real passion behind local sport that lots of people wouldn't ever see.
No,
and don't understand.
And that's ingrained in me, right? I've been going to Northampton games for as long as I can remember. All my best friends are there. Like we all get together. I still do that to this day. And I would never not do that because you've had a lot of people on this podcast that aren't from Northampton. I am
Northampton born and bred. If we cut you in half,
you'll be.
What's the colour of claret?
I'll be pissing claret.
Yeah, love it.
That is me.
But it's brilliant that when you said about being that little boy, like kicking the football and sort of commentating in your head maybe or out loud sometimes, and then that's quite a full circle. Although it's not what you're doing now, it's a bit of a full circle moment because you're like, oh, that's literally what you were doing in the garden.
Yeah, and I can look back and be really proud of what I did. I am. It honestly seems like like I said a minute ago, like a world away, like that, just a different lifetime from so long ago. But I can look back now and be really proud. I've still got, stories on BBC Sport website that I've read. Please don't turn them off, BBC, because I like to look at them every now and again. Little bits like that, nice bylines and stuff like that, which is cool. So it was a good time.
It's interesting for me to read like how you got into what you do, because when it came to deciding what I wanted to study, I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
But not in sport in particular. I'm nosy. I love to write, and I love people. So when I was asking my teachers at school, I was like, what do you think I should do? And they were sort of pointing me down the business route, the journalism route, and strangely the HR route, which was never going to fucking happen. Not going to lie, like I'd have ended.
Maybe they just heard people and thought HR.
No. But journalism was the one that got me first, and then I sort of accidentally stumbled across marketing, and I just thought there were more options studying marketing, because I know people who've done marketing and have then gone to do journalism. But when I read through that, like I get that. It's just I wrote a lot as a kid, so just a slightly different.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you ask me now, are you a marketeer? I'd probably quit. I'd be like, I am, obviously.
Yeah, of course you are, yeah.
I probably wouldn't have said that until quite recently.
Yeah,
but 100%. I've been a marketeer since I was 17, 18, studying journalism, because it is a form of
of course it is.
Selling something. I'm selling a story. I'm selling whatever. So, I think, you can describe it in many different ways, but but I'd never thought I was going in the marketing route, but here I am.
But there you are, yeah. And so you then if you can tell us sort of what happened next, because you then went into a series of roles. Your background has been content, social media management, working in-house for different organizations.
For
so
sure. So when I was commentating on one of the games it was Corby Town, one of the directors had a sports like content agency. And it was just him at the time, and he said, I need someone to help. So this was in my second year of university. It was Northampton based. So I said, love it. I was bang on that, because it was all well and good learning, but I wanted to be wanted to be writing stuff, producing stuff. So worked with him, and it was great. So I was coming home from Brighton every week to work on Fridays here, and then traveling back down. Pretty much had a job then for when I'd finished uni. So I did that through second year and third year, and then when I finished, I knew I had a job to go to. So one of the client who we were working for was the Football League. So that's the 3 divisions below the Premier League in football. Running their social channels, running their website. Brilliant. So that was a big. We had millions of followers. I think it was 3 million followers at the time. So probably loads more now. But so I was producing content straight off. Social media wasn't that big then. I'm sounding really old now.
You're aging yourself, right?
Social media wasn't that huge then, so it was mainly web content. But everything I'd learned at university was so it was seamless. I could write about whatever I was. The subject was sport at the time. I could write about that easily. So we were producing web content.
In your element, I bet, because you're still in that sort of blend of like you love sport. And you're getting to do the writing.
And I was back home in Northampton, and I had a job. So I left uni, had that job, and then we expanded. So the business was going really well. So I was first through the door, and I'm a bit of a natural leader. So naturally, I then had a team, evolved to 4 full-time members of staff under me. And I was still only 21 at the time.
And you don't see yourself as a high achiever.
No.
Classic.
No, yeah.
No, but
still, I look back, right, and at the time, it was just 5 lads just sat around the table, 4 lads just sat around the table, just writing about sport.
That's probably why you do well. Because you're not walking around like cock of the walk. Like you're just doing your thing, trying to do it well.
Yeah, I'm just an average guy. That's what I see myself as.
No, not at all.
7 out of 10. Everything.
7 out of 10. You referred to yourself as a grey man earlier as well. I was like, but you're clearly not. You're clearly not, because you were spotted by that guy. You're good at what you do.
For sure,
he approached you. You've then grown a team with him. So you're not just your average guy. It's modest and it's lovely that you're like that, but you're clearly good at what you do.
Yeah. And, my wife tells me all the time, back yourself more. But that's just me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm happy because it does, like you said, I never want to be seen as like cocky or anything like that. That is the opposite to what I am. And I don't go out my way to show that I'm not cocky. I just
That's
be
who you
me.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just who I am.
It's probably a big part of why you've done well in the jobs you've had and why you're doing
Yeah.
well now, because it's people will be attracted to that in you.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, it's just about being a good person, right? In
Yeah,
that
for sure.
sense. So yeah, from there, worked at the agency, but sport for me financially it just doesn't pay.
No.
Unfortunately, in sport, somebody always do it for free.
Yeah.
Because it's a hobby.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they love it.
So I got to mid-20s and I'd gone from the agency in sport to, I met my wife Laura at the time, and she sort of opened my eyes a bit more to it, and she said, "You're not being paid enough." Like,
No,
being
for what you're
bluntly honest.
doing.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
what you're doing. Because sports evenings, weekends, right? So I was doing pretty much 24/7.
Antisocial, yeah.
Yeah, and I was young, mid-20s at this time. So I went to work for St Andrew's Healthcare, which is a mental health care charity, in their comms team. Financially, it was ridiculous pay rise for doing less work.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
And I'd fell out of love with sport, strangely, because I was working 24/7 on sport. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. It was too much.
You can overwork a subject, can't you?
Yeah,
and really get a bit.
I had. And so yeah, I'd lost the love for it a little bit, and then went into business, and so yeah, it was with St Andrews.
Yeah.
And so that's so it's a mental health care charity, but it offers secure mental health care, so up to medium secure, which is, as you can imagine, it is medium secure. It's the last port of call before high secure and prison, basically. So even working on a comms team there, I obviously saw a lot and experienced a lot of different things. I had an alarm. I learned how to protect myself and how to protect the people in care, which is really good. And eye-opening. I did some volunteering there as well, so I was a befriender. So spent time on the ward with some of the patients to understand who I was working with. And I carried on doing that after I left for a little bit as well. So that was a really good job. I was digital communications coordinator there. Manager, whatever.
One of the things.
So it was, again, it was writing web copy. It was, but mainly social media. And now I look back and think, well, if you can produce social media copy for a secure mental health hospital, you can produce social media content for any business on planet Earth. Fact. Because literally, the first content you'd think of to promote a mental health charity would be case studies. Everyone there was sectioned under the Mental Health Care Act, so I could not talk about anyone.
No.
So you have to be creative.
And
that's why I'm here on Creative Juices.
That's where it all started.
But even the simplest things. So we didn't have an image library at St Andrews, so I brought that in. We need some stock imagery of our people, whether that be the people in care, if we can get sign off for people who are perhaps in low secure, or the people who work there. And now I look back on that, I think, what a great move that was. I'd advise people to do that now.
So it's massive.
Little things like that, being creative, creating an image library, creating some branded templates for social media and stuff like that. That's what I started doing there. And I was just taking the knowledge I had from sport, right? Into
what are the stories that you can tell?
100%. Spotting a story, and then using my knowledge of social media to support the business.
And you then went through a series of working for a couple of other local businesses in Northampton, again in similar sorts of roles like social media management, content management, and then moving into what you're doing now. So you've got Social with Ryan, which is your own business, where you're essentially a social media manager for people. But what happened? What made you go, do you know what? Don't want to do this in-house for people anymore. Let's have a go at doing it. You were, and one thing that I've just listening to you talk about sort of the earlier years, you're a hard worker. It's clear, because you were side hustling whilst in full-time jobs, freelancing, doing other social media management for people. So just talk us through how that transition happened into working for yourself.
So I was in-house with the law firm, social media manager, but I joined the firm during COVID, so I never went into an office. So I was sat in my home office in Northampton, managing social media for a fairly big law firm, doing really, really well. Well, what I saw was doing really well. And it got to a point, in terms of the work, I was like, there was something in my mind that said, well, you're doing this for a big law firm, you could do this for for other law firms
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you wanted to. Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't specialize in law, but you could do this for more businesses, and money was never the thing. It was more just like you could have new projects and work with more
Variety.
people and variety. Yeah. And then in my personal life, my wife was pregnant, which is crazy if you think about it. But she was pregnant, and I wanted freedom, right? So my
Yeah.
vision with the business and being self-employed was I wanted to be able to pick my laptop whenever I want to pick it up and put it down whenever I want to put it down, and enjoy the moments with Laura being pregnant and then our little girl coming into this world, and enjoying all our firsts and being there for them.
Yeah.
Which is really, really important to me. So, first crawling, first food, like I was
Yeah.
there for all of them.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because it was in year one of my own business. So
Yeah.
I left. Well, I was actually made redundant in the end from the law firm.
Yeah.
They were having a reshuffle, and look, it timed right, really, for me. I was made redundant in the end, but I'd been, I'd set my business up in the January before.
Yeah.
I was having conversations, and I was sort of side hustling here and there, which they know about. I told them that was a thing. I needed more money because Laura was going on maternity leave.
Yeah. I think COVID made a lot of people more transparent anyway.
Yeah, and I just at an age where it's like, I'm going to tell you what I want, and if you can't come along with me and provide that, then
see ya.
Well, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like for once in my life, I was finally like, I'm fucking good at what I do.
Yeah.
I'm doing really well here, so I want to do it for more people, more businesses, because there's so many more businesses out there who need somebody like me. So yeah, and it just all came together nicely.
Yeah.
I was made redundant, which I don't really talk about a lot because it's not really.
It is what it
is.
is.
What it is. Yeah, the business was going in a different direction.
Yeah.
It wasn't with specialists, and I'm a specialist.
Yeah.
They wanted more rounded marketing people, which I totally respect. And I sat
Yeah.
there and said, well, I'm a social media specialist. If you don't want me, that's absolutely
Yeah.
fine. I'll go and do my own thing, which is what I've done.
Which fair play, because a lot of people would have tried. There were a lot
Yeah.
of people out there, and I was probably one of these people at a time where I'm not a specialist. So this is where we probably differ. Where I would have tried to mold myself probably,
Yeah.
but fair play for just standing your ground and being like, no, this is what I do.
Yeah.
So,
I'd worked so hard to get, I wanted to be a social media manager. I wanted that title.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was really important for my career. Even though some people may say, oh, it's just a title. But I think in the marketing world, you can easily get dragged into being a web writer, being an SEO expert.
yeah.
Like I'm not.
Yeah.
And I've done those things. Don't get me wrong. I am a well-rounded marketer. I could sit there and give you an opinion on your H1 titles on your homepage. I could,
Yeah.
but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to be a social media manager. So I need to keep
Yeah.
that title I wanted to keep and needed to keep
Yeah.
to go in that route.
Yeah. So then you started social with Ryan.
Yes.
And for those who, obviously we've sort of touched on what you're doing, but in your words, like if someone's just like, what do you do?
I make businesses successful on social media, whatever that may be. So that's in its simplest form. Is a business tends to come to me with little to no presence on social media and need support going to market. And obviously some businesses aren't ready for it. But because social media is just one stem of marketing, one route to go down.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, and look, I am a social media manager, but like I said, I am a well-rounded marketer, and I know that a business needs to, explore other avenues if they want to reach their full potential. However, social media probably offers the quickest, most visible route to market. So that is why people always say, I need a social media manager.
I need help with that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm there for, right? And so I'm here to, my purpose is to make businesses successful on social media, helping them achieve whatever they want to achieve.
Yeah. And that does vary, doesn't it? It's worth mentioning that for a second, because I think a lot of people look at social media through a quite a particular lens, which is how many likes are you getting? How many views are you getting? Oh, wow, that video's done really well. That with actually no real knowledge of what that person might actually be trying to achieve on the platform.
That's a good shout, yeah.
So like when you say like whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, there is variety in what people are trying to achieve, isn't there? Some people like are going for higher engagement because they've actually got a really good network and community of people, but it's not very engaged. So let's switch that up. Some people have got no following and have only just started and they need to increase that. So I imagine the the range of what you're trying to achieve for people, it
Yeah.
varies, doesn't it?
It does vary. And I think, so I have one business, for instance, who has been going over 40 years, but their presence on social was fairly...
It's like the ham company.
It is the
I
ham
love their
company.
socials.
Houghton
Yeah.
Hams, yeah. So
Yeah.
Houghton Hams is a great example of a business. So they've been going since 1983, right?
Yeah,
so they've
yeah.
been producing ham every day
Yeah.
for 40 years,
Brilliant.
which is incredible,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In Northampton.
Yeah.
And their presence, like digital presence, was fairly limited.
Yeah.
So yeah, they said, well, you know, we need support for social media. I was like, yeah, I mean, I was like, great.
Let's
and
write about ham.
knew immediately, right? Yeah, let's write about ham. And I knew immediately that they've been going 40 years. They're gonna have fans, right? They're gonna have a community without knowing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Huge.
yeah, like, and LinkedIn alone, like, it's been great because the same people like turn up on their posts, and I love it. And you know, I've been running their LinkedIn for 7 months now. I recently posted about it on LinkedIn, actually. I didn't name the company, but we had over 900 comments in the first 7 months.
Yeah.
And that's through, like, okay, some of the content has been like trying to get engagement, which is
the crispy bacon.
the crispy bacon. How crispy do you like bacon, right?
Yeah.
That had 300 comments.
Yeah, bonkers.
Yeah, but
because people are going to engage in that, and it's
100%.
a break from all the like dross they're probably seeing. No offense, everyone, but there's a lot of on social media. There's a lot of rubbish.
Yeah.
So you know, a post comes up about how crispy do you like your bacon. We all have an opinion,
Yeah, and
particularly in the UK, on how we like our bacon. And it's easy to engage with.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you can see it. You're looking at everyone else's opinions. You're going, oh, they like it non-crispy. They're not for me.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's obviously that is a very like top of the funnel post. It's just trying to get more eyeballs on the business, and it worked. That reached, I think it's like 30,000 people that post reached, and one of the sales manager said his brother in America seen it, and they were talking about it in their meeting room in New York. It's like, okay, well,
it's a bit of fun, which not enough people still, which honestly boggles me. Like, how are more people not having fun on social media? Because it's, you know, it's all around us. You see the post that you like and you enjoy, and you think, yeah, it made me laugh, or it got me emotionally, or, you know, it's made me think of something. Like, but people still don't change what they're doing. It's you know, you see a post about bacon and you think, you know, what can we do in our business that's similar, or what can we do that gets people talking? And that's what your job is as a social media manager, is to help businesses actually pull that sort of stuff out.
Yeah, and it's like there's so many different avenues you can go down with content, this like depending on where the business wants to go and what they want to achieve. But like there's a story to tell, of course, and then there's obviously the business like achieving, like there might be a sales element, which is cool, but there's creative ways and there's different ways you can do that, but you have to build an audience first. So I need to produce content that captures an audience, and then nurtures that audience, and then potentially some of them will convert,
keeps them coming back,
keeps them coming back for sure, and then advocates for us. So what I think people miss on social is that breadth of that content funnel, right? Is don't just post salesy content, don't just post like authority building content, don't just post like awareness building content. You've got to post all three. How you split that up is up to you.
And it's long burn. If you're doing it organically, like you said in one of your posts, it takes years.
That takes years,
Like, you're going to get business out of it. You'll probably have had business out of it that you don't even know is from it if you're not asking the right questions. We always ask where people come from when they contact us, but lots of businesses don't. But it's that we have to do this a lot. You'll have to do it day in, day out. Is that expectation setting that if you're only doing organic social media, you need to understand that it's going to take a while. Like, if you're willing to bolt on ads in there, if you're willing to bolt on other channels of marketing, it might happen a bit quicker, but you've got to commit to it. Yeah,
for sure. And I say it from the start. I'm so transparent about that. Like, this could take years. So you need to create levels of success. You need to create what is success in 6 months? What is success in a year, 18 months? And know them and be really transparent and understanding of them. As a business owner, be understanding that this isn't going to happen overnight. And if someone thinks it is going to happen overnight, I just tell them. Like, I just educate them. It's not. I obviously, you know.
It's not, full stop.
And it's, you know, with, like I said, with a lot of the business I work with, they're very early on in their social media journey. So naturally they need a bit of education, but I've been doing that since St Andrew's days, is educating people on social media. And that is a lot of my job, which I'm happy to do.
You have to.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's still relatively new for some businesses, some people. But that is so in my role as like a social media manager, self-employed, it's to plug in and offer that support and be that person, be that person who can offer you advice. And I do play on the fact I'm not an agency. I do play on that. I say I'm not an agency. It's just me. Because some people do want to work with solo people now. I've found that out. I didn't really think about it when I started out all that much. I was just like, well, it's just me. I just want to.
You say it in your copy, don't you? You say, I'm not an agency and nor do I want to be.
That's because, and that's still true to this day. And it is true. But then the business comes in and it's like, oh, do you want to expand?
You go, I can't do all of this.
I suppose there's limitations to what I can earn. And that's where Anna's episode of Creative Juices helped me, because it's like, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, of course it is,
And I'm not here to be a millionaire. No, my vision was to be there for my family, be present, which I fail at sometimes miserably. However,
well, I think we all do.
But it's
there's different ways to be wealthy, right?
Sure.
And if you go back to what your vision was for the business, your wife was pregnant, your daughter's on her way, you wanted to be there. You wanted to be a present dad for those early years, which lots of dads don't get the opportunity to do because they're not in that situation. And I think if you can build a life that gives you that, then you're winning already. It's, how have you found it, like the first 8 months going from being like in-house to then, you said earlier you love everything about running your own business.
I do love running my own business. To be honest, the transition in terms of doing the work is fairly similar, because I was working remotely anyway. What's different is getting the balance right is tough. When you're on the payroll for somebody, you finish at 5, you start at 9. The luxury of being self-employed is that you can start whenever and finish whenever. But one of the disadvantages of being self-employed is you can start whenever and you can finish whenever.
It's on you.
And that might be never. And I have fairly high standards for everything I do, whether it be an email, whether it be my content calendar and keeping that organised, so I like to control things. I'm a bit of a control freak. I am. Being
not a bad thing.
No.
In balance.
So I don't think, so when I say I'm not an agency nor do I want to be, some of that also is, I don't think currently I'm like of the mindset or ready as a business owner to let other people in.
You have to let go.
And then also, like, financially, like, I think to run a successful business and to make it profitable as an agency, you've probably got to go beyond the threshold of 1 or 2. You need to go, you can help me on this, because I'm not an agency owner, but you need to go 5 plus, 10 plus to make it really, because I can guarantee you, financially, we're probably not far off the same yet. You've got employees. And, at this stage of my life, I'm not ready for that, but also financially.
I don't think I was ready, Ryan.
No.
I think it just sort of happened,
And look,
I think I definitely had a slightly different vision to you, because I was separating from someone when I started the business, and I was going into single life again. I live on my own. I have no children, so no one's dependent on me. So my mission was really like, I just want to help businesses that actually want to do something with their marketing, because I was fed up of banging my head against a brick wall trying to improve things when people just didn't want it improving. They were happy with what they'd got, even though it was average. So I was very driven by the type of people I wanted to work with, and then it sort of has just naturally happened. And I have enjoyed growing the team. It's hard, but I've enjoyed seeing. I like walking in and just seeing everyone cracking on, and I'm like, you're all just cracking on, and I'm not. Like, because everyone here is very independent and very,
which is great.
There's not a lot of micromanaging here.
No, which is great, and I think it's so hard to find good people, right? And that has helped me with my business, because I know what I could bring to a business, and I know I'd be a good addition to a business, and I'm happy to to say that without being cocky about myself. But like, so any good people, and I say this to people now who are thinking about going freelance, like I say, you're a good person. You're good at what you do. You're a pretty good person. You'll do well. Trust me. And I'll say that forever.
There's plenty out there, isn't there?
Because if I came to you and presented you with a good person, you would take a look at them. If they can bring something to your business and they're a good person, you would 100% take a look at them, because you know how difficult it is to find good people.
There's loads of people out there like yourself, like I don't know if you know Lisa from what's her business called?
Media type.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do bits for Lisa.
Yeah, so
Lisa
you, Lisa, would probably be the two that come to mind. But there's people out there that I'm like, I'd snap your arm off.
Yeah.
Because you're good people. You're good at what you do.
Yeah.
I've said to Lisa before, I was like, I would snap your arm off. Like, if ever because she's bringing up a young family, and not in a come and work. It's come and work with me. It's not like you're good people. You're good at what you do, and you have to make people aware that they're good, because we're all going around doubting ourselves most of the time. Like you said, like it took you a long time to realize I'm actually good at what I do.
Yeah.
And I listened to your story and it's obvious you were good because people spotted you and you'd progress and you did well. And that doesn't just happen.
No.
I mean, in some instances it does, but for the most part, you've got to be good at what you do.
Yeah.
Particularly with what you're doing. People need to see results. They need to see it going well. There is an element of, okay, Ryan, well, have we hit those goals? Have we hit the levels that we've been talking about? But it looks like it's going really well.
Yeah.
And we probably have said this to each other, it can look like it's going really well, but sometimes you can be finding things really difficult behind the scenes, but you seem like you're just really enjoying it.
Yeah, I think just going back to a point you made there actually is hardworking. I've always, some people are just naturally good at things. Mm-hmm. I'm not. Well, I don't think I am. So I've always had to work hard to be good at something. But then I think that if I go further back and analyse it a bit more, my family is hardworking.
Yeah.
They've always been hardworking. My granddad, my pap says, or used to say, don't leave a job before you got the next one. Like, always be working hard and keep at it. And so that comes from there, and I maintain that to this day. I always work hard. So if something's not going right, whether that be for my business or for a client, I will work my absolute bollocks off until it's going well.
To fix it,
And look, if it doesn't go well after trying my best, that's fine. But I've tried my best, and I will always try my best for every business I work with, every person I work with. Even if they don't employ me, if somebody comes to me with a problem, I will do my best to help them. Yeah, like that's just...
It's your brand, right? It's and 100%. You don't ever want anyone to leave having had an interaction with you.
Yeah.
We talk about how do you want people to perceive you? You want to be perceived as hardworking. You want to be perceived as helpful, as good at what you do, as vigilant. Like, they're all positive things. You don't want every touch point with you needs to give that
for sure
impression, because you are your business. So
I am,
it's even more important, really.
Which is what I say to people now, like the perception thing. How do you want to be perceived? Really think about that. And I have thought about that long and hard. To be fair, it's just me being me. But if I did break it down, it is one of my most powerful assets.
For sure.
And then in terms of like how's it going, that's what you asked me.
There are many ways to answer that question, to be fair.
I'm still in business. And it's a very profitable business. I'm working with, I always just wanted to work with good people and good businesses, and I'm doing that. I've lost a client. One in 8 months, which is fine. Great. It didn't work out. We have honest conversations. That's another thing. Like the perception you give off allows people to just be honest with you. And I want people to be like that, because look, if it's not working, it's not working. I'll hold my hands if it's not working, or we'll change something if it's not quite working. But and if the relationship's not right for you, great. Like we'll talk about that. It's the best way
to work.
Yeah, for sure.
And 1 in 8 months is pretty good going.
Like, I'd say, And look, I'm here, still got the business.
Profitable. It's
the little girl's now.
She's one, isn't she?
She's just over 1, so like that's success in itself.
And how have you found like the balancing of, you and your wife raising her for the first year of her life? You've started a business. Your wife's also got a pretty big job.
Yes, So she works in marketing as well. But look, it has been hard. That's probably the hardest thing, is getting the balance right, because obviously she's been at home. I've also been at home. And building a business whilst raising a baby is difficult. It's a challenge.
I take my hat off to you, because I haven't had to do that.
No, and we've had our ups and downs for sure, just like any couple do, really. But it's been difficult to not go downstairs when she's crying and like
just carry on.
But and we've been doing that for a year. We're all still here, which is great.
Everyone's alive. Everyone's fine,
happy.
Still
we're all
married.
happy. And she's great. And
she's so cute, Ryan.
She is.
She's so cute.
I know she's gonna be terrible when she starts.
Dangerous.
But we have had to make changes now. So we've joined a gym.
Yeah.
Which I haven't been to a gym for ages, but like we've done that because I need some separation time from home office. The home office, my creative juices just weren't flowing anymore.
No.
It was gone. I was honestly struggling. So I was like, right, let's get out. So I ended up in Sainsbury's Cafe at Sixfields.
Oh, yeah. Just change of scenery though.
Yeah, just not even a fancy cafe. It's just Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
I was just
Sainsbury's.
immersing myself with all the old people and all the kids on some holidays. And I was, honestly, I worked so well there for 2 hours. It was a joke.
Yeah.
I was like, I can do my day's work in 2 hours at Sainsbury's Cafe. Yeah. Then I thought, right, well, I can't sit in this cafe. So I looked over at nothing and I was like, let's pop over there.
Yeah,
so we went in there and so over the last, I did that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it's really
Makes
helped.
a huge difference. Yeah.
Massive difference. Because working from your home office for a year solid with your wife on maternity leave is a challenge. And I get it wrong a lot of the time. Like I've got to hold my hands up and say, I have got it wrong many times. I've been on my laptop at 10 o'clock at night. I've been doing a proposal at, midnight. Suppose that's just how it is as a business owner.
It happens.
But I never want it to be like that. I want to be present.
Yeah. I think anybody who thinks, and this is certainly my lived experience, and I've got lots of friends that run their own businesses now, just from, I've got to know people from doing what we do. But anyone who thinks that you're never going to be up late, I mean, you can do it never being up late, but it depends what you're trying to achieve with your business. And I just think it's quite unrealistic to not have any like odd late nights doing things, or because if you really love what you're doing and you're really trying to make a success out of a business, that whole like work smart, not hard for me is a load of bollocks. You need to do both. You've got what work hard looks like. Like Anna's a really good example of this, but she's made the mistakes to get to that thinking. She's made the mistakes of doing late nights. Like I think we all do it. And I think the more we don't shy away from that, we're not saying it's the way to sustain your business, but it's going to happen. Like, you're going to have the odd late night trying to get things ready. I've done proposals at stupid o'clock at night because you're running around, like you're trying to grow it. And
for sure. And I think especially like first 8 months, like first year in business, you're trying to get to a level and work with the people you want to work with, and inquiries drop in at times when you don't expect them and you need to do a proposal, and I'm happy to do it. I love doing proposals. I love doing everything.
Oh, do you? Oh, that's like one of my least favorite things.
I thought I'd hate the selling aspect of it, but I love it.
I love the selling.
I just, when an inquiry drops in, I do you know what? I get a real buzz out of just speaking to people, understanding their businesses, understanding their problems, and like I'm like, I can help you. Like, I can, and then honestly, content ideas.
I saw your post about like you have like late nights, don't you?
Man. I was up actually this week. When was it? So if it's not our baby keeping us up, it's me. Just
it's you with like, what can I do?
Oh, what was it the other day? I can't even think.
You said in your post that it's like it's not sleepless nights in the sense of you're stressed about the new client. It's excitement. You're like,
it is excitement.
What can I be doing? I'm similar. It doesn't happen so much with my sleep. It's more when I'm trying to relax, the ideas come. So when I get home, I have like a third wind of like in the evening of like, oh, we could do that. We could do that. We could do that.
Mine's definitely in the middle of the night. It just happens. I'm just like, bang, what an idea that is.
At least the ideas come.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Just not the best timing.
And I take inspiration from, like, people might say, I take inspiration from beautiful walks. And I do to a degree, but mine more is take inspiration from the platform you're not on social media.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
So I look on Instagram for something for LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Facebook. Ugh.
Let's not talk about Facebook.
I just punch myself in the face.
There's not all that much inspiration on Facebook, is there?
No, I just look in different industries because a lot of the people I work with tend to be like unsexy, should we say?
Yeah.
Historically, they are. Mental health charity, law firm. It's not sexy.
Ham. I mean, ham can be sexy.
Well,
you've proved that.
They've
Ryan.
got such an interesting story though that makes it sexy. So. Like it's just businesses that you probably don't expect to be working with, an insurance company, for instance. I love working with obscure businesses. I think it's interesting. Like I said, I just love to get to know what people and their businesses and what they want to do,
stories.
And the content they can create, and then it just then the ideas just come.
It's really like, it's great when it happens, but if the timing of it is when you go into bed, like we've had instances where we've got one at the moment with a client where they're putting a new life into an old document of theirs, basically. But it's essentially a little book of like inspiration around what's happening in what they do.
Yeah.
And they want to give it a new lease of life, which is including like a new name for it. And they sort of like put me on the spot in a meeting a couple of days ago. And I was like, oh, no, that's not how this works. Like, I can't just like do it here and now. And then last night when I was driving home from work, bang, 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 bang. The ideas, like really inconvenient time. I can't write them down. So I'm then trying to dictate into my phone. Like sometimes we can't plan when the creativity happens. And this has come up a lot in the episodes of that. Creativity is a job in itself.
Yeah.
Because you said like you weren't feeling very creative at home in your office. So you had to change something so that you didn't get stuck in your ways. But for you now, so you've mentioned like Nuffield, you've mentioned you go into the cafe, like where do you feel most creative at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment it's just hot desking somewhere, to be honest. Just pick a random spot. Yeah, because it used to be I'm good working from home, but I've done it for three years now. So it's like my home office with some tunes blasting would be good. Singing along to them and it'd come. But now it's probably just get out and put yourself in different environments where you're not like deflecting and talking to somebody there and procrastinating here. It's just pure head down, headphones in maybe, and then just going for it and churning.
Do you find, like I've always found with copy, because we can talk about that a little bit, I find if I'm in an environment where there's like lots of background activity, like people just doing their thing, that's it flares creativity for me. Like if I go to somewhere and I just plug in, I actually find I still have the same problem sometimes because I'm creating my own little bubble. Whereas if I go and I don't plug myself in for say the first, like I love the Workhouse in Brixworth. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I'll sometimes go there, get a coffee, but I don't put my headphones in.
Yeah, that's a busy coffee shop.
I just listen to the like hustle, the bustle, the chats. And I find like taking that in helps. But yeah, some people prefer to just go, no, I need to lock in.
Yeah, I'm easy to be honest. I do think switching off is like, I didn't realise how important it was until the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Gone back swimming again.
Yeah.
Like going swimming at 2:00 in the afternoon. Did that yesterday.
Yeah.
Then I got out of the pool. Another 2 hours of work, and it was like
fresh,
bang, done.
Yeah.
Like which is really weird because like obviously we've spoken about hard work and working hard, but like taking yourself out of it, removing yourself, whether that be a walk, a swim, going to the gym or whatever, really helps. And I forgot how much it helped, and I've been reminded of the last couple of weeks. Now I've done it. You could condense an 8-hour day into 2-hour blocks, morning and afternoon, do something in between, something before, and it makes the world of difference. Like I'm getting more done. It's more productive.
I found, particularly at the beginning of the business when we were working from home, I very quickly learn when my most productive blocks are. So like I am first thing in the morning. So I get into the office quite early because there's little distraction. My brain is, for copy, my brain is at its best like 7 a.m. Like for a good solid 2-3 hours. Then I need a breather. Then I'll go and we go for a walk quite often as a team, or a few of us will go. Then I'll have to do something that's not as creative for a bit. And then I get another wind sort of late afternoon. And then I get another wind like 9:00 at night. So there was a period where I would build my days. It's a bit harder now that we've got a team, but I would build my days when it was just like me and mum around those windows. Yeah. Because they're when the best ideas come and the best work comes. But obviously with a baby and a wife, it's a bit harder maybe to do that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have like my most creative time in the morning. I probably would have said I did. If you asked me a few years back, I would have said, first thing in the morning. Now it's not, to be honest.
With a 1-year-old though.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm, and this makes people go, ugh, I'm a manual poster. I post manually on social media.
No, I'm here for it.
So an hour in the morning I post. Yeah. So between 9 and 10 every morning is when I'm posting. Yeah, so I can't get up and crack on with work because I do my hours posting, then I do a block of work, then I'll do lunch and something else, and then a block of work, and then wind down.
I'm here on that. Why manual, just from your perspective?
One, I don't trust tech.
You
can never 100% trust that a scheduled post is going to go out or not going to go out. I used to work on embargoes quite a lot in sport, so I had to manually post. And then the multiple features that comes with platforms now, particularly like Instagram, you cannot use all of those features in a scheduling tool.
No.
So you manually post. And also, if I scheduled something for next Tuesday, I'm 100% forgetting I've scheduled that. And then the community management angle, which is arguably as important as the post, you'll forget to do that. Yeah. So, you know, I know what's gone out today.
Yeah.
I posted 3 times on LinkedIn this morning, various different businesses. I know they've gone out. I know I'm going to log back in after this and check the comments.
And just check what's going on. Yeah.
I just know what's going out every time. And I'm very organized as a person. Yeah. So my content system is
slick,
locked down.
Yeah. Because I always say with the schedulers, and we've had this conversation internally a lot, there is no scheduling tool out there that efficiently works across all platforms.
None.
Zero.
And if anybody wants to come at us, right, with a tool, I'm going to speak straight into the camera. If there's a tool out there that you think does it all, come at me. But I can tell you it won't work for every platform. Yeah. And I'll happily consult with you.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I'll second that. We'll be there together. Like, no, it doesn't. They're just not efficient. If you're posting across multiple channels, using one tool becomes really difficult because you don't get the efficiency. You can't post to the quality that you want. You have to sacrifice things, and that's not what you want to be doing.
No, I'm a perfectionist as well. And also, like, I've had battles with, I won't name names, but the various different social media platforms over the years with account managers where they say, oh, sorry, that's the API, it's not included.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll just go on platform then.
Yeah.
So I use tools just for, like, analysing, and then community management, like the comments, so I can see
we need the analytics in platform to catch up, don't we? And then we're happy days.
Yeah. And then, I don't use a scheduler.
No. Yeah, we don't, to be honest, anymore. No. Only really, we sort of like gave up with it probably about 6 months ago. We were like, right, okay, let's just go, because you can now schedule so much more in the platforms as well. That's developing as well. So there's sometimes you do need to schedule. Sometimes it is better. But I am a big fan of manually posting because I just think you can have a closer eye on the attention to detail. Yeah,
which is really important, particularly for me and my business. Attention to detail and, that just perfection. Like, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, you want that like chef's kiss moment every time, don't you?
Absolutely.
So at the moment then, would you said like you get inspiration from like just life and meeting people and speaking to them and seeing what's going on, but what do you do to actually like keep on top of your craft? Like, what do you do to, I suppose, A, keep on top of what's going on social media, and B, keep yourself sharp as a writer? Yeah, because they're the two main.
I think keeping on top of social media is immersing yourself in social media, subscribing to the newsletter updates that you find the most valuable, and then speaking with other social media managers or other marketers. So I've set up a little WhatsApp group with a couple of other social media managers, and they do different things to me. Yeah. And so one's a TikTok specialist. I don't do TikTok. Don't take on clients on TikTok. Yeah. So she specializes in that. I will 100%, if I needed to, pick up. Not forget who you're producing for, right?
Yeah.
The target audience of that business. Yeah. Don't let the algorithm and how social channels work dictate the content you produce to a degree. You need, obviously, like, for instance, video performs well for the most part, but sometimes multiple images would perform better than a video. Yeah. Depends how you're delivering that. So I just think don't lose sight of that audience you're creating for and the message you're trying to deliver. Yeah. What was the bit?
The copy. So how do you keep yourself? Because I'm copywriting is probably my core skill, similar to you. If someone said to me like I said, I'm not a specialist. I'm a broad marketer. I look at the big picture. Yeah. So I'm looking at how all the channels work together. But my core skill is copy.
Yeah, for sure.
So there are things I do, but I'm just curious what you do to keep yourself sharp.
I'm producing so much copy that just keep producing.
Yeah.
And also just seeing what works, what resonates, how obviously this is a bit algorithmically, but how the platforms are displaying copy, because that changes quite regularly, first 2 lines, etc. So I don't bang on too much about hooks, but just structure your copy. And it goes back to my university days as well, like the most important part at the top. And if you can deliver that in a creative way that fits with the platform, that entices people in, always thinking about how I'm producing stuff. And that's a bit of a
no. Like you say, you're producing a high volume of copy. Yeah. For me, I have to dip in and out. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't sit and write copy for days and days on end. That's not my job. As the business has grown, I'm doing a wider variety of things. So like I
Yeah.
probably maybe have to work a bit harder on keeping myself sharp, because there can be times where I come to sit down to write some copy and I'm like, whew, okay,
Yeah.
let's re-exercise these muscles
Yeah.
a little bit.
No, I totally get
so
that.
I found like I read a lot of fiction again now,
Mm.
and I got really into like business books and like self-help books and all of that. Like, yeah, it's great, but I found going back into like reading more creative stuff, the language I'm using is more varied again. Just like a
Yeah.
simple thing like that for me. I've also rediscovered. Do you follow Harry Dry?
No.
Really worth following.
Yeah.
I'll share his profile with you afterwards. But he's a copy specialist, and he's
Okay.
just some of his insights. They're all really like short and sharp, but they just get you thinking
Yeah.
differently. Like, you know, if you're struggling with something, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, why don't I try that angle? But yeah, I think there's no better practice than just keeping producing.
Yeah, I think I've not hit a massive block yet. I mean, I've had my moments, like I said, where creativity has sort of dried up a little bit, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, need to change things up. That's fine, and then switching off helps massively.
Yeah.
You know, like I just said, moving away, coming back, and one thing, copy is my thing that probably just flows, and just speaking to people, and it might sound weird, but like speaking to people on WhatsApp as well, like typing out messages to people, just talking how you will talk, because and that, for most businesses, that is what they want anyway. Yeah, there's little nuances for each one, but
the times of like, we are delighted to announce,
don't.
like, or we
That
are
kills me.
thrilled to showcase our new, like, it's got to go, like all of that stuff. How would you talk to your customer? Like, it's like you said, like, I have a lot of conversations with people around that doesn't sound like you.
No, yeah,
Like,
that's right.
people are gonna see that and then meet you and go,
Well, that's
what
not
the
you.
fuck?
Yeah,
like, it's
for
just
sure.
doesn't match.
For sure.
Which I think people still a lot of the time think there needs to be this air of professional persona.
Yeah.
But what is professional anymore? There are many ways to be professional.
For sure. I think working in a law firm helped me because I understood the level of professionalism the firm acted at, but actually you don't need to say we're thrilled to announce this new partner every time. Because let's be honest,
we're delighted to welcome Ryan to our team.
I mean, come on. I tried to bring a bit more like human element to it, and I had to have those conversations internally on why we were not doing that. Which stands you in good stead then for when you're working with businesses in as a solo social media manager. I can have conversations with businesses, and I'm more than happy to. So that's sort of just be human. I just tend
that's
to
what it's about.
I tend to write copy how I speak, and like I said, tone down the Northampton accent, keep the T's in there and make sure the THs aren't Fs.
It's finding as well, like, what the voice is of the client, isn't it? Because like with that law firm, as an example, we did some work for a law firm not too long ago, and I must admit they were a city firm in the middle of London, and I turned up for my first sort of session with them, and I remember getting up in the morning thinking, what the hell do I wear? Which I never wake up and think, like, I just wear what I want to wear. I'm not. So I remember thinking, like, okay, which Hannah Brady do I take to this meeting? And that's the first time probably in this business I've ever thought that. And that's I thought, no, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going as like the real Hannah. I'm not going to pretend I'm anything that I'm not. So I turned up in what I'd normally be wearing, and I'd prejudged them.
Yeah.
And I got in the room and they were so down to earth.
Yeah.
They were probably as nervous as I was because it was new for them. They were like, oh, this is new. Like, what are we going to be doing? There was a sense of apprehension in the room. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, it's fine. Like, they're not better than me. They're not. No. And they just made me feel so welcome. They were so friendly. And then when we got into how they've been approaching marketing, I was like, none of what you are comes remotely. If I took all your branding off, you could be any law firm. Like, you could be anyone. There's nothing that's you about your marketing. And it spiraled a whole conversation of them really like opening up to, oh yeah, I can say that. And it doesn't detract from the fact that you're a brilliant lawyer. It just means that you're an interesting lawyer, not a person in a suit.
And I think there's this risk, right? They think someone's not going to take them seriously, or they'll lose business over the fact they're not being all professional or whatever you define professional as. But yeah, like my experience of working in a law firm is totally different to how you'd think my experience of working in a law firm was. Like, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's the only business when everyone just totally just listened and respected my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
And to be fair, that has probably helped me massively when it comes to my own business, because they sat there and was like, well, you're the specialist here. You're employed for a reason. You do you, and you tell us how we should be doing things, and we'll respect that.
Yeah, brilliant.
And that probably was a switch in my head that was like, you know what you're doing. You're good at what you do, so be confident. All right, I'm not 100% there. I'm still always developing that, but before that, I definitely didn't have the confidence I have now in terms of what I do. So yeah, like whatever you think of a law firm, trust me.
Oh yeah.
Working for a law firm is different, and they're like this whole stuffy perception. It's not. And working for a law firm on social and delivering that message was like a pleasure. Like, it genuinely was. I loved doing it, and it showed because we had great success as a business. Yeah,
you can't beat when you're in house and you're given that autonomy.
Yeah.
I could probably say I've only probably been given that twice in all of the roles I've had.
Yeah.
And there's just such a, when someone says to you, I back you, I've hired you because you're good, you go and tell me what you need to do. And also that's willing to, there are going to be a few little mistakes. Like, it's okay for things not to work. We were talking before we sort of properly started, and every area of marketing requires, you know, you get it out there, you look at it, you tweak, you go again. Like, it's constantly evolving. So if you've got that autonomy from people to let you do that, it is a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to understand the business you're working for, deliver that personality whilst resonating with the audience. And then, like you said, you've got to test things, whether that be the personality side of it, or whether that be, you know, you can bend some, you know, brand guidelines to make it fit with your social, because it's different to any other platform. But in the same breath, like, you've got to consider how that message is being delivered for the platform as well, because you will have to test, because what worked on LinkedIn a month ago might not work today. And we were discussing earlier, like, the thought leadership piece is dying a slow death. No one wants to be told, here's how to do this, here's how to do that. Here
are 3 ways to spice up your LinkedIn profile.
So I want to deliver that message, but I can't deliver it like that anymore. So how am I going to deliver it? I'm going to deliver it through song and dance, maybe. I'm not going to, but, you know, could
Here
do.
are 3 expressive moves to show you how to spice up. It's definitely shifting.
It is shifting.
100%.
And but being present on LinkedIn as myself and as the business I work for, I keep up to date with what's working and what's not. And I can, like I said, with my experience as well, going into any business, I can tell them, well, I think I can tell them confidently what they need to be doing better, and what will help them achieve what they want to achieve. And that, you know, going back to what you said earlier about what is it they want to achieve, that might be just connecting with 5 new people and getting a new conversation with them 5 people.
Cool.
And that's cool.
People forget a lot of that, don't they? About speaking specifically about LinkedIn, but it does apply to all social media. It's called social media for a reason. So like we have lots of conversations with clients around, because we don't always do the community management piece. In fact, invariably we don't. It's something that we're probably looking at doing a bit more of, but because people post and then it's like, goodbye. But you have to do who are you connecting with? Who are you pulling into your business page? Who are you pulling into your profile? There's a lot of admin that happens in the background to support the content, that means that new people are seeing it, that means that the right people are seeing it. And I think people neglect that.
And I think that's what takes it from a content plan to a real well-rounded strategy and a real, you know, well-rounded plan, should we say. Like, it's not just content, because when I say I manage social media for businesses on LinkedIn, that encapsulates the people as well. I will advise them on what they should be posting. And for some businesses, I did this for in-house as well, is produce content for the company, but also produce content for people.
You have to now.
You have to. And that's where if we're talking LinkedIn specifically, that's where the success can be had for the most part, especially if you're operating organically, right? Which I'd say most businesses are.
That the personal profiles just perform so much
better.
For sure.
For sure. And yeah. So if I'm saying to you, we're going to work together on your company socials, it's going to be you as well as
You
people.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you see people go recoil in horror.
Yeah, but then again, it's it's my job or our job to bring them on that journey, and tell them it's okay, it'll be okay.
It's okay.
You've got your own social media manager.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately like what I am.
Yeah.
Like I am your social media manager.
Yeah.
I plug into you as a person, you as a business,
Yeah.
and provide social media management, and that can be from holding your hand to do your first post.
Yeah.
In-house at a law firm, I trained around 600 lawyers on how to use LinkedIn, and some of them had never posted before. Some of them had never ever posted, and I held their hand literally on a Teams call while they were posting. And that's cool. I will do that.
If it's going to help you get the success, then it's 100%, got to be done.
Because that's part and parcel of it. It's not about creating a glitzy video and putting out this nice promo video with drone footage. We can do that. But there's other stuff. Like, social media is so much more than just posting.
Thank you, Ryan, for saying that.
Listen
in, folks.
Community management is like so important now. Like I'd say that's just as important as posting now.
I agree.
And I'm trying now as my business is to move away from, and this is really difficult, move away from saying you get this many posts or you get this much, because it's hard obviously when you don't know somebody, but you just want to say to them, look, tell me what you want to achieve. I'll design you something that will get you there or help you to get there. That might just be one post. Right? And it might be, the rest of it might be community management. I don't know. It could be that, but it's like I see success on social in so many different ways. I think there's a pasta bar who I always talk about. Onda, they're called.
Onda?
Yeah, Onda on Instagram.
I'm going to write that down.
Onda Pasta Bar. My favourite.
On Insta?
On Insta, yeah. My favourite social media account is Onda Pasta Bar. Now, they produced one reel that went crazy, and it's built the whole business. There's a tiramisu drawer, right?
Okay.
Pull out the drawer and it's got tiramisu in it.
Yeah.
And now the person who runs that, he just does like POV videos. So now they've opened their own restaurant, and that's the only content he produces. It's dedicated to like POV. It's like he probably produces. He only used to produce them like once a week or once every 2 weeks, just when he could, sort of thing.
And then the demand goes up.
So it might just be doing like 4 posts a month. But they're all really good. Right, and then the rest of it's community management side of it. So. And he makes them videos like shit hot. They're
really
good. So that's where the inspiration came from for me doing my POVs on LinkedIn. It's from a pasta bar on Instagram. And that's what I'm saying about getting creativity and inspiration from somewhere where you don't expect it. Because and LinkedIn, it works so well because you expect to see a white paper, you expect to see an annual report.
If I see one more like bold carousel that's like black with a sharp font, and then it's like it's like 50 slides to get to the actual it's all that and
look, don't go trawling back through my LinkedIn because you'll probably find that somewhere, but
we've all got them, but it's in there's so much of it now because people join the bandwagon, don't they? And then which forces you to be creative, and it's a good thing, if there was, it keeps us on our toes. And I also think like slightly longer form is coming back.
Because for sure.
It goes in like peaks and troughs. I think we went through the pandemic where people were spending a lot more time on social media. Then everyone sort of went back into work, and you saw engagement fall off a cliff because everyone was sorting their life out again. That's why, going back to what we said right at the beginning, that you said, you've got to understand what's going on in society. You've got to understand what's going on politically. You've got to understand actually what is going on in the world at the moment. Because if you're looking at your content going, at the moment, engagement's down. Well, people are on holiday. People are looking after their kids because school's out. And when the weather's nice, people aren't glued to their phones. No. So perspective, but some people don't have that mindset to think, well, hang on, what's actually happening here? And it's not linear social media. It goes up and down. You have some clangers, you have some real successes, and sometimes you look at things and go, why did that do? Even as social media managers or people who've been using it for years will go, got no idea why that did so well.
No, that's right.
And then you have to figure it out.
And try different ways of doing it, but 100% don't be blind to what's going on in the world. And if you can bring any of that into your content, pick and choose for sure. Don't be tone deaf. Like do that. Just be aware of what's going on. And like long form, 100%. I've always loved long form content. There's no reason why that can't be more successful. And then I also think how you, it's all about delivering that piece of value, right? How you
Yeah.
deliver that could be long form, could be short form, could be 5 words, could be 500 words.
Yeah.
But then, you know, as a marketer, I sit here and say, well, think about your customer funnel. You know, some of that long form content, if you maybe tease a little bit of that on LinkedIn, but then, you know, push it to your email and then get people subscribed to you. So that's one thing
At what point are they in the...
that's one thing I probably need to do better at. And one thing I'm thinking about is my customer journey.
Yeah.
I want to lower my entry point.
Yeah.
So free things, but then also like low cost services as well. Because my thing is I want to help as many businesses as possible be successful on social. So I need to lower my accessibility route a little bit, and that may be through email,
particularly while you're on your own.
Yeah,
it's making sure that doesn't burn you out. You know,
that's the thing.
You only have so much.
It's
power.
Getting the balance right, and then also, you know, my wife always says, "Well, your diary's full. You don't need any more work." Yeah, I know. There's that, but
they want our help, and they want that. Like it's
difficult. And I think what they could do with my content calendar system though. Maybe if they give me like 50 quid, they can have it.
Yeah.
But there is that, right?
But that's that passive income.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the route I'm going to be going down.
Yeah.
Because I think that's my progression of business needs, like I said, lower the entry level.
Yeah.
And offer, you know, free ideas, and then progress up to a content calendar system, progress up to a one-to-one, progressing up to an audit, progressing up to full management. Yeah. So I can help as many people as I can with their social media, whilst also making a profitable business.
Nice living. Yeah. Good for you. And at the moment, then we're moving into quick fire soon, Ryan. So you'll definitely be sweating once we get to the quick fire.
How good.
Aside from work, like now, you know, you're a dad. You've got a young family. Hopefully the love for sports come back, but like what is your favorite creative outlet outside of what you do as a social media manager?
See, I don't you know, when you think of creative people, and everyone's probably said this, I know for a fact some people have on this podcast, it's like I don't consider myself creative, so I don't draw. I can't draw, should we say? I like
have a live demonstration.
I like to sing to myself. You know, creative output. Just drinking a pint.
I don't know. It depends how you drink it. Like,
No, I'm not. I don't know. I don't consider myself
creative.
Yeah, I really don't. I really don't. So, like I said, I don't read books. They send me to sleep. Like,
that's why I read them. To be fair.
Yeah, well, I used to do that, but now I don't struggle going to sleep anymore.
Okay, yeah, just need it.
It's creative output. Yeah, I don't know.
It might be that it is work is your creative outlet.
I think it genuinely is. Like, I obviously am creative in my work for sure. Creative ideas, processes. Like, I love creating processes that, you know, are super slick and do what you need them to do, sort of thing.
That's definitely a weakness for me.
Yeah, see, I'm so organised. I think my creative output is actually just doing nothing. Yeah. Although I don't do a lot of that. It's like, it is going for a walk, very cliche, but it is going for a walk. It is now spending time with my baby. Like, stuff like that probably is my output. Yeah, it's not a creative activity, but it is what helps my creativity.
But if you're organised as well, there'll probably be things going through my mind, and this is something I'm always working on, but I'm not unorganised, but I'm not as into processes as it sounds like you are. So there'll be things for you that there'll be things going through my mind on a day-to-day basis that you probably aren't even thinking about because your process has covered them. So you maybe have more of that bandwidth to when you do sit down to write your copy, or when you do sit down to do what you're doing, the creativity's there because your brain isn't, I mean, I'm not saying there's not other things you're not thinking about, but when organised people worry less generally.
Yeah, see, I am a worrier.
Same.
I am. So inside, I do give off this cool, calm persona. Inside is the opposite, which I'm fine with because I do thrive on it, for sure. But it also, people thrive off the fact that I'm seem cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, you've got a nice balance.
It works both ways, so then when I do switch off, I'm always thinking about something, but the organisational element of me allows me to not think about it. Yeah. Notepad next to my bed.
Same. Yeah, happens. I have to do that.
Right. Reminders on my phone. Just do this tomorrow. Put it a note.
Yeah.
My notepad, whatever. Write something down for tomorrow. So yeah, being organised does allow me to switch off, and that then enhances the creativity when I am switched on.
Yeah. Chaos doesn't tend to breed creativity for me.
No, see, I cannot stand chaos. Like, the house is minimal.
Yeah.
If there's everything has a home, right?
Yeah.
If something is out of that home, I cannot rest until it's in the home or put back where it needs to be put back. And I feel really anxious if something's not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Which is...
No, I mean...
that's just me.
I am a worrier and I'm an anxious person. I'm not like everything has a place. I've had to really learn on, like, really, really work on being, like, tidy. Like, I'm messy. I'm a messy person. So, like, you probably wouldn't make a great team in that sense, right? Or I'd drive you mad but I do, as I've got older, I am tidy because it does make me more anxious. And I think I've learned as an adult, I'm less anxious when things are in order. It's just, I don't find that, that doesn't come naturally to me. I have to work at it. But if it makes me less anxious, then I'm more motivated to do it. Yeah,
see, that comes, I'm the opposite. It comes naturally to me. And so for instance, if I had a day at work planned and I had a free, or if I had something really important to do at 10 a.m, I would happily push that back to 11 if it means I can tidy up and get everything set. So if my house was a complete tip, I wouldn't be able to do that work.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I wouldn't be able to do that project, whatever that may be. I just wouldn't be able to do it to the best of my abilities because my mind isn't on a level like calm. Yeah, everything's got to be tidy and like.
Yeah,
I mean, this probably sounds insane. To
no,
some
not
people,
at all.
But just little things.
No.
You know, like even like making the bed, like just little things. Like it's just everything just has to be in its place.
Calm mind though, and then you can do. Yeah, like they say, like tidy desk, tidy mind.
100%. That's
like,
me. Yeah,
I don't like a messy desk.
Nah,
we won't talk about Stuart and Paul's desks out there.
Yeah, no.
We'll move swiftly on. Yeah. Okay, so before we go into, I've got a few quick fires to end us on, but before we do, what if you could give sort of one piece of advice to aspiring social media managers? Because I do think there are quite a lot out there. What would you say, like in the here and now, is most important for people who are looking to get into that field of work?
I would say, well, if you're starting out in your careers, have a plan. Like have a vision. You know, mine was, I want to pick my laptop up whenever I want to pick it up and put it down and be present with my family. Have a vision of what you want to achieve or where you want to get to, and then plan an action to get there and be realistic with yourself.
Yeah.
So that's more like if somebody's like looking, I mean, that could be for anybody really, but that's certainly some advice I'd give. And then for social media in particular, it's understand who you're working with and who you're trying to speak to above all. It doesn't, I mean, people say it doesn't matter what the business wants. To a degree, it doesn't, but you need to understand them and their story and what they're all about and what drives them and motivates them.
Yeah.
Because then you can educate them if you need, because it's all about what works for the audience, right? Yeah. So an effective like presence or activity what you like, what they like. So understand your client, your business, whoever you're working for, and then understand the audience. It doesn't have to be a massive understanding, just small.
Knowing who they are is a really great start, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you'll have seen it. A lot of businesses you go into, I find, still don't really actually know who their audience is. They'll go, oh, well, it's men in Northampton. And you go, okay, that's lots and lots of people. Can we break it down? There are a lot of people who still see their audiences as at a very high level, which then as a marketer makes it hard to find the stories that will connect and what's the actual problem there and what are you really fixing for which people. Yeah,
for sure. And I think it's so important to get to know who you're working for as well. And if that's yourself, well, understand yourself. Try and get to know yourself. Answer a few things. You know, like it may sound silly, but like write that vision down and write down who you want to speak to and write down what you want to achieve. And like I said, same for the business. Understand their story, understand what drives them, because that will help you with creating content and resonating with your audience, but also help you in being a social media manager. Because you know what drives them and you know what they want to achieve. So you can sort of mold your output and what you do, your activity, to align with what drives them.
What drives them,
So I think that's probably something. And then I can give loads.
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Loads.
If you need any more advice, you can message Ryan.
Yeah,
he's already said he will do everything he can to help.
And that is the thing. I 100%. If anybody needs any advice on social, like from a career perspective, message me. You know, I've worked in so many different businesses, B2B, B2C, in-house, agency, solo.
Yeah.
I think I've covered a lot of bases, right? And for some people, they'll go, well, you should have niched down. You'd be more successful.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, I've experienced a lot of different people, a lot of different businesses. I've worn an alarm whilst working, you know, like that's the level I've been at with social media. So, look, reach out to me.
There's a lot you've seen.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And it's experiences beyond just being a social media manager, but also as a person. But also, like if anyone needs any advice on being a social media manager, reach out to me. Like, 100%.
Cool. Quick fire.
Yeah.
Are you ready? You've listened to the pod,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
should know. You should know what some people have come in and been like.
Yeah, I've prepared a little bit.
Have you? Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
So the first question is: if you could invite 3 creatives, dead or alive, to a dinner party, who would they be?
First one is Banksy. We just all need to know who it is.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but he would turn up, or she would turn up like incognito.
You didn't even know it was he or she.
No.
So
they'd turn up just like.
Well, exactly. So then I'd get to know them.
Like the
Then I'd need
Stig.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Banksy, good one.
My favourite musician is Hosier.
Nice.
Yeah, love Hosier.
Yeah.
Listened to him for years.
Yeah.
Seen him many, many times. Obviously, everyone knows him now because of his songs are trending on.
Running in the right way. I can't sing like him. I was going to.
You're too sweet for me.
But he's got a real distinctive.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
Listened to him for years. So he'd be second. He'd be singing us in. And then the third one, I don't really have necessarily a person, but like I want someone to capture it. So whether it's a photographer, whether it's a narrator.
Yeah.
So David Attenborough could like narrate over it, and then we'd capture
and
that.
And now we have.
Or we'd have a photographer there. Capturing it. So just somebody, you know, third would be just
who can get the physically capture
it. Yeah, whether that be photography, words, video, whatever it may be, so we can then all reminisce on.
You just commentating in the corner.
Could be me, yeah.
And Banksy's sitting down, he's going for the left-hand chair, and we've got Hosier. Oh, he's sliding into the table.
Bang on, what a dinner fight that is. Yeah.
That'd be great. Or have a commentator there. So you can just chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so love that. Good table. And then the second one, which is my personal favourite, is if your work was edible, what would it taste like?
Yeah, see, I want to bend this question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, okay.
It's not about what it tastes like, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a pint of Guinness.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, nice.
But it's more about like a pint of Guinness is like hearty. It's got heart. It's got soul.
Yeah.
So there's a story behind it.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
On the outside.
Yeah.
But on the inside, there's so much going on.
It's a solid meal.
It's a solid meal. Yeah.
Solid meal in a glass.
Yeah. Exactly. So
satisfying.
Yeah, and not.
You can decorate it.
Yeah, you can decorate it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a good one.
Yeah, so that's.
You've gone liquid form.
I've gone liquid. Yeah, and you can have a good time with a pint of Guinness. So.
Yeah, or a few.
A few. Yeah.
It catches you. Guinness catches you. Like, you feel fine. I really like Guinness.
So do I, yeah.
I mean, Guinness doesn't like me, but I remember drinking it with my dad, and I think, fair play to myself, I think we had about 8 pints.
Yeah, that's a good go.
And I got like 6 in, felt brilliant, and then I was like, shit, I'm really drunk. Like, it just hit me. Like, I think the first half of the 7th pint just hit me like a brick wall, and I was like, oh God.
But did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, I had a great time. Yeah, that's the last time I've drank 8 pints of Guinness, though.
Yeah, I
don't think that will ever happen again.
I'm not saying I'm 8 pints.
Yeah, no. You're just one nicely poured, delicious pint of Guinness. Yeah, I like that. And then the final one, which I've slightly switched up the last few episodes just to make it a little bit easier for people, is if you could give Social with Ryan like a theme tune or a song.
Ooh, yeah.
What would it be? Or a genre some people have gone for who've really struggled?
Like Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a...
great song. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that
aspirational.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, flying to the moon. And
yeah. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Classic.
Bit of Frank Sinatra.
Classic.
Yeah, I think that's mine.
Nice. Very good. Well, thank you, Ryan, for coming in. Hopefully...
Pleasure.
You've sweated. It was very warm in here when we first got started, so we've got a fan out and everything for Ryan. But hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's been really nice for me, like actually just getting to know you a little bit better. And we're going to go and have some lunch now and
maybe a pint of Guinness.
Maybe a pint of Guinness. I mean, not for me.
Not
I'll let Ryan and Paul have one.
Clients working this afternoon.
Yeah, work to do. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.